Now we will discuss bilingual first language acquisitions. Because bilingualism is the norm in many countries, younger children are often regarded as more effective language learners as compared to adults, especially in acquiring two or more languages simultaneously. We have already discussed the phenomena of bilingualism, which is also known as multilingualism, and we have individuals who are known as bilingual, and then we have societies who are also considered bilingual societies. Due to globalization, people moving to different countries, settling them down for many years, their forefathers have been settled there, and they become bilingual because they have their mother tongue, which is different from the language that is being spoken in those countries where they have migrated. And the children who are born and raised in those societies, they are well capable of using multiple languages that they are exposed to. And since they are exposed to these languages at a very early age, then they become more effective learner to handle multiple languages. So now we will see those children, or especially the younger children, who are exposed to multiple languages and how they acquire these languages in the context of bilingualism. You have three factors in front of you with regard to bilingual first language acquisition. Now, the important area that needs to be addressed with regard to this is that do bilingual children learn each language in a similar way and in a way that is also similar to how monolingual children acquire their language? And are bilingual children able to learn two languages at the same rate as monolingual children learn one? Or does the presence of a second language slow their development? So keeping that in mind, we have now first point to consider, that is course development. T. Howard basically defines simultaneous bilingual acquisition as children being exposed to two languages on a regular basis, such as hearing both languages every day from birth on. Now, for this particular area, the researcher, which is D. Howard, believes that with regard to syntax, the sequence of grammatical development in such of the bilingual languages are the same as in monolingual children's acquisition of the respective language and is guided by the same underlying logic. Then they believe that, although also stating that this might be a strong point of view, that they are similar to monolingual children's acquisition, which is guided by the same underlying logic. Rate of development. Now, studies of the rate of monolingual and bilingual language development have been somewhat mixed. Some studies have found similar rates of development, and others have found that bilingual children lag behind monolingual children in various aspects of language. For example, Pearson and colleagues have conducted several studies on the rate of development and concluded that bilingual language acquisition does not necessarily lead to language delay. Then we have another study, which is a contrasting study conducted by Gathercall, who found that bilingual children lagged behind monolinguals in various syntactic measures, including the mass count noun distinction and grammatical gender. Then we have interference. Interference is another area that has been observed with regard to the bilingual first language acquisition, and this also addresses the extent to which two languages acquired simultaneously tend to interfere with one another. So this is the interference of languages when they are acquired simultaneously. In this area, we have Reish. He has suggested that the degree of interference or language mixing is greater when caregivers are not as strict about keeping the two languages separately. Another researcher, who is Petito, he and her colleagues believe that exposure to two languages from birth does not necessarily lead to interference or confusion between the two languages. Interference, when it does occur, has been found at the level of phonology as well as syntax and the lexicon. So lexicon mixing has been found frequently with content words, especially nouns, but some investigators have found considerable mixing of function words. So we have the evidence which shows that some kind of interference and mixing does take place when there is bilingual first language acquisition. Gathercall found that the bilingual children, they lagged behind in various syntactic measures as compared to monolinguals, including mass count noun and the grammatical gender. To conclude, in the words of Hoff, that it is certainly possible for children to learn two languages simultaneously, overstatement to state that it is just as easy for children to acquire two languages as it is to acquire a single language.